Joe, I think folks are really going to love our next segment.
Everybody likes to talk about the headlines and the hot topics of the day. That's right up our alley.
It is, and I also know that there are times when news reporters wish they had just a little bit more time to cover a story.
So this is your chance to learn a little bit more about the stories beyond just the sound bites.
So let's talk hot topics.
An independent audit and report of compliance with accounting standards, state and federal laws, and grant program requirements was completed for Jackson County. This audit and report was conducted by Moss Adams LLP that recently presented the findings to the Jackson County Board of Commissioners, administration, and the public. Let's look at the findings.
So, as part of our results, we issue 5 audit reports for your county. The first one is over the financial statements. So this is the 140 plus document that's put together that we have audited, and we issue an opinion on that. We were able to issue an unmodified or clean opinion, which means we were able to get comfortable that the financial statement was materially correct. So that's quite a feat for such a large document. The next report is of the Oregon minimum audit standards. We're in compliance with those standards, and we had no reportable findings. The next report is the Governmental Auditing Standards report. So because we do audit the federal awards, we do have to issue a report in compliance with governmental auditing standards. And so as we've noted here, there are no reportable findings to communicate. The Uniform Guidance report is the report where we have audited your federal awards. We were able to issue a report with no compliance findings. And the last one is your passenger facility charges. So because you have an airport and you receive money for passengers to pass through there, and that money can be used for special projects, the FAA does have certain compliance requirements that you have to follow. And so we test those as part of the audit, and we found that the county was in compliance with all of those. So overall, very good results for the county and their audit reports.
It's amazing to get not only a clean opinion on your financial statements, but no compliance findings. And what I would say overall is that the county continues to be very stable and in some ways very healthy. Here's the expense side. So that first area there on the left and the other governments there kind of in the middle right. So those are the kind of the general governmental expenses. Then you can see your total spending is down from where it was 4 and 5 years ago. And then you can see overall. Now this slide is if you were to sell off all of the county's assets and liquidate all the debts, what would be left over? So what you want is a stable or growing, slightly growing trend. And I would call this stable. So basically you have done a good job of living within your means here at the county. And that's something that's been difficult to do for your peers in the state. This is just the general fund now. These are spendable, available resources of the general fund, and you can see revenues and expenses, and then the far right bar tells you what would be left over there. So basically, you've been able to grow the fund balance in your general fund, so you're very well positioned here from a financial position standpoint. So here's another way of looking at it. This is just the cash and investments. So obviously, since that's a majority of the available spendable resources, it's not a surprise that you've seen some growth in that. Here's the debt one that, so you've been able to make investments in your capital assets and really not a lot of new debt. In fact, you've been paying it down. So you're down almost half of where it was 4 and 5 years ago. And then this is another way of looking at your general fund, how healthy it is. You know, that fund balance, how does that relate to the annual expenditures that come out of that fund? And you've got an increasing trend there. The bond markets like it when you're at least 15%, so you far exceed that. So you've got a nice trend here and a balance I think your peers here in the state would be pretty envious of. And this is the thing that blows me away. I was doing some research on the internet, and there's a nice schedule that shows the property tax rates of all the governmental entities in Oregon. And at $2 or a little over $2, you're clearly in the lower end of the spectrum there. To do the things that you've done and have the stability that your financial statements show with a property tax rate that's barely above $2. I mean, you should be proud of yourselves for the ability to do that.
And I say this every year because it seems like, again, ho-hum. We just had a clean, unmodified opinion and no reportable findings and 100% compliance. And it just seems routine. But I do know that this is not routine, and this is remarkable, and this is unique. And I also know that it's because of the work of our finance and audit departments and the lay members of the Budget Committee, the Board of Commissioners. I'm going to pat ourselves on the back a little bit for it as well. Not to mention administration, all of our department heads and managers. I mean, this is a team effort that every day they're keeping their eye on their ball. They're diligently making sure things are done accurately and in 100% compliance, and that's how this comes to a culmination. This isn't just we throw this together at the end and everything comes out okay. This is a daily, throughout the year, effort by a lot of people, and it is remarkable.